Hey guys, so I just spent Valentine's Day. I think it was just a very memorable Valentine's Day. Today, me and Danny, we went to a steakhouse, but we actually, for the very first time, tried this impossible food, which is like a plant-based beef. And like we were given like a beef Wellington to try, and it actually tasted pretty good. But the whole time we were like, oh, how does this compare to the beef? Would I be able to eat this over beef? Nah, beef definitely tastes better and all that stuff. But the reason why we wanted to try this plant-based meat was we just saw like on Netflix this show called Game Changers, and you guys should watch it or have a look. It's really about how the farming of animals and even seafood is just taking up so much of our natural resources, like a cow that we eat. The amount of food that we eat is this much, but the amount of food that the cow had to eat and the clean water that it had to drink is like so much more just to get that cow into this plump, yummy beef that we eat just so much of these days. Like a chicken, a chicken, like it took that much water. I'm not good at explaining. You can go watch Game Changers, but what I'm saying is that if we actually ate the food that was the chicken ate, so that we could eat the chicken, if we ate the food, we would actually have like maybe, I don't know how many meals, like 5 meals or 10 meals instead of that 2 meals where we ate that chicken. Or we would have had 15 or 20 meals instead of eating that cow. We're really taking up a lot of our resources from the earth, and a lot of the times it's like I just don't want to give up yummy chicken and yummy beef because I'm such a steak lover, or just like yummy delicious seafood. It's hard. I tried to eat more vegetarian, vegan, starting early this year when I saw Game Changers. It's just been hard. It's just been a struggle. But once again, after watching Oscars, Joker, the main character in that, I cannot pronounce his name, so I don't want to pronounce his name bad, but his Oscar speech was just amazing. And then it reminded me, he was talking about, we put things into the cow for it to have a baby, and then we take the baby cow, the calf, away from the cow, and then when it's crying and it's mourning, we also take the milk from the cow to put in our coffee and our cereal, like as if we're just so used to it. We buy milk so easily, we buy beef so easily, we don't think about where it comes from. This was just one, a bit of a wake-up call today. The second was we saw the movie Parasite. I'm so glad that I saw it in black and white, because I don't know if I would have been able to even watch all of that movie in color. I might watch it again in color, but I'm so glad that the first time I watched it was in black and white, because already it was like there were so many metaphors about society and the classes. And after watching that movie, my gosh, I just realized how blessed I am to be able to live in such a comfortable space now in my life. And some people can say that, yes, I worked really hard to be able to live in like a bigger house now, like 3-bedroom, this and that. But there are days where we just don't appreciate it, and we don't remember it as such a big blessing. This movie just really got me thinking, because there's so many people that are less fortunate than us, that are living in smaller spaces, that are not having the conditions that we have. Like, for example, like if, say, like a family of 4, they are very poor, and they had to, buy the grain and the resources of the ingredients of what it takes to make this beautiful cake. And then a wealthier person buys this cake, has 1 slice, let's say there's 8 slices, has 1 slice or 1.5, it's like, oh, this is too sweet, or this is way too fatty, this is over my calorie count, blah, blah, blah. And then eats 1.5 slices and chucks this away to the garbage can, where possibly this family who actually made the cake, maybe there's only that 1/8 left, and they have to actually fight between the 4 of them to even be able to have 1/8 of that slice. It's kind of like our society right now. Like, if you're better off, you just, like, I just, buy fruit, or I buy vegetables, or I buy meat and I put it in my fridge, and sometimes I even forget what I buy and it goes bad. And to think that there's so many people who can't even afford to buy that food, and when they actually can buy that food, they can only buy that little, that it might not even be enough to feed themselves. It's like, we know this. We're like, oh, we know there's starving children everywhere and this and that, but it's just like, again, such a good reminder that if you are in a power, if you are in a place of a certain level of comfort, or when you're in a place of certain power and authority or fame, where when you speak, more people will listen to you. Like, are we using our voices to speak important things that share what the society is going through as a whole, and not just my makeup today, or my outfit of the day, or like, I feel like, yes, I do these things because I am an actor, or because that is like my lifestyle. Like, this is kind of like, we need to look pretty so that we have more followers, so then more brands will want us and actually just pay us to post certain things or to do a commercial. Yes, there is that cycle, but in the middle of that cycle, can I also take the time out to share videos like this, where, like, today I just felt so much things just by watching this movie. Like, I'm like besides myself right now. I just feel like it's such a beautiful screenplay. It's so beautifully directed. The artistry of the movie, it's one thing, and then the message that it conveys. And then sometimes I'm thinking about the roles I play, like, was there a huge significance? Was there a huge was this impactful to society? Was there a message behind this film? Like, what did I want to say? I find that actually, when a film can not just entertain, but when I really hope to be able to do films one day where it really speaks more messages, that will give the feeling that I got today watching Parasite, where I really think about my society, and I think about, my position, where I really think about me as an actress, me as a human being. What am I doing with my life? And this is not to say, like, suddenly, like, I feel convicted to, like, become a savior and then I have to spend the rest of my life helping people. But it's the little steps, right? It's if you have a heart for the poor, you buying an extra lunchbox 2 times a week or 1 time a week, and then giving that extra lunchbox to someone on the streets, or buying groceries for a family that lives next to you, that they maybe cannot afford so much groceries. Like, little things make a huge difference. I think it was a week ago when me, Janice, and Stella, we were just convicted by the Holy Spirit to, like, when we were praying, just to, like, hey, Grace, go pass out, go share your mask. Like, I only had half a box of masks left. It was like 25 masks left, and I was like, oh, that's gonna last me, like, me and my husband add together. That's only like, what, 25 divided by 2, like 12 days, 1.5 week. But even then, it was like, okay, God, if you ask me to do it, I'll do it. And we went out to pass out masks, and we didn't even pass out so many before we came across, like, these 4 really cool guys in some sort of po, and we just had like a 2-hour conversation with them about Jesus, about love, about just listening to their stories and seeing, oh, how is some sort of po through their eyes, just to be aware of the people who live in our city. And after that, like, you know, there were people left and right asking me if I needed masks, and then someone just gave me like 100 masks, and it was like, hey, if you need the mask, please like keep it for yourself, but if would you also help me to pass these masks out? It's just amazing things that happen after you just step out in faith and just step out in love, and the things that God gives you after through people. Just every little thing, every little action does count. It really, really, really does count. It's just really making me rethink and really ponder deeply about my work, my career. I've been working really hard on this new project, and I'm so excited to share with you guys more when it starts to be completed, and then I could share with you guys. But a movie like today, it just stops me. It's like, the things that I'm doing, what is the message behind it? You know, like, is it a good message? Is it a message that brings love, that brings hope, that brings peace? It's a really, like, I'm just so blessed this Valentine's Day that I got to experience like so much little reminders from God. From what I feel, like just little reminders to tell me to just stop and think and be thankful of how blessed I am, especially a time of this where people are out there without masks or without sanitation stuff, when a lot of people are losing their jobs because, you know, of what's happening these days. There's people not, you know, leaving their home. School has been, you know, temporarily suspended until March, and there's so much fear around. And what are we doing? Are we adding to that fear, or are we, hey, I have 10 masks, like, does anyone need 2 or 3 or 4? Like, have we asked anyone, do they need a mask? The people that have asked, you know, even the ones that said, I have enough masks, they actually tell me like, hey, but you were the first person who offered me a mask. And it's been like 3-4 weeks since this like huge coronavirus outbreak. And I feel like it's truly times like this when we have to go through something that it forces us to make a decision, where we're just like drenched in fear of not having enough, or do we like break open that fear to trust that if we all share our resources, if we all share our creative input, if we all share, like, put our brains together to think like, what can we do for our society right now? What can we do for our neighbor right now, for our friend right now, for that stranger in the street right now? Just little acts. Even today when I left the gym, my husband, my lovely, beautiful, thoughtful husband, gave me this huge bouquet of flowers. And when I was leaving the gym, the reception was like, wow, look at that beautiful bouquet of flowers. I'm so jealous. And I was like, happy Valentine's Day. Like, I didn't know what to say, right? I didn't know whether I should like pluck like a flower and give it to her right there and then. But, you know, we went downstairs and we passed through this you know, this flower shop, and I was like, hey, let's buy a flower, like, even if it was just one simple rose, because it was like really overpriced, but we just got her like a beautiful rose. And I went back to the gym to give it to her. And I'm not saying this, I'm not sharing this to be like, oh, look what I did, this and that. I'm just sharing to say that any of you could have done that. And maybe after I share this, maybe some of you would be like, oh, she really wants a piece of cake, or I can buy an extra piece of cheesecake. Like, if you're in a cafe and someone's like, oh man, I'm really hungry, I really want a piece of cake, you could buy a piece of cake for her. I feel like it's like, are we opening our eyes every day when we go out into the world, into our city, into our job? Are we opening our eyes to see the needs of people around us, or are we just like so consumed with ourself and our social media and how many likes we get from each post, and what's happening, and the drama, and how I'm not there yet, how I wish I was there, how I would say like, when I am there, then I will blah, or when I get this, then I will blah, instead of just opening up our eyes to just be like, hey, do you need something? Hey, do you need a glass of water? Hey, just opening our eyes and our hearts to look around to see, is there a need that I can fulfill today? Thank you to movies, and thank you to just the people who have been so good to me in my life, to remind me that I can be good to someone else. Yeah, sorry, this is just like just me rambling on, but I hope such as a time as this that we can really stand up and really do something and really love out loud and love in action. Because if we all can just take that little step forward and love on someone, the effect that will have, like that drop of water, and then it's go, it could. And I don't know, I just encourage myself the next time I see someone in need that I would actually take the time out of my day to spend that extra 5 minutes to go help someone with their need. Instead of like, oh, I'm in a rush, or oh, pretend I didn't see, oh, everyone has needs, I don't need to help, you know, or they might reject my help, so then I'm gonna feel terrible myself. No, that we can actually stop and think, okay, I think that person needs help with something, let me just help them. If we can do that once a day, once a week even, I really believe that we are so capable of doing so much more for our world, especially such as a time as this. God bless you guys. Yep. Happy Valentine's Day.